Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome back to another empowering episode of the Unstoppable Singer podcast. I am your host, Danielle Tucker. I'm a singer, a vocal coach, and a lead singer with the Mighty Untouchables band. The Unstoppable Singer is a live interview style show where we dive into the lives of real professional singers who have achieved incredible feats in their careers. And we explore the challenges and the triumphs that come along with a life under the lights. And we learn what being unstoppable truly means to them. So, if you are passionate about music and the stories of remarkable artists, then you're in the right place. Stick around because I'm going to introduce my wonderful guest. Get ready to be inspired as we dive into the extraordinary journey of Tiffy Jane Maddox, a true musical dynamo. From her debut on stage at age 4 years old to her soulful performances, band tours, and studio magic, Tiffy's story is one of unstoppable passion. Graduating from the Musicians Institute fueled her love for soul music and songwriting, but that's not all. Tiffy's recent adventure into motherhood unveiled the incredible impact of music on her daughter's development, sparking her mission. Creating both online and in-person music classes for kids and adults, Tiffy is nurturing the next generation of music enthusiasts. Don't miss the chance to discover the heartwarming journey of a singer who's spreading joy through the magic of music. Let me bring her on. Hello, my friend.
Hi, my friend. Okay, so I don't know. I'm not pregnant, but that was making me emotional.
Oh,
You were so sweet. That was such a beautiful write-up. Thank you so much.
Hey, it's so true. It's so well deserved.
So kind.
I was thinking as I was reading, I was like, I can't exactly remember the last time you were on, but it was a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And things have radically changed in your life.
There's a lot of
Uh-oh, I think you just muted. Uh-oh. Yeah. Your mic is muted. Let's see if I can help. Oh, unmute mic. Or it's disconnected.
You mean the button that said mute?
Oh.
You mean that button? That button. Okay, cool. So sorry about that.
That's okay.
When I took out my AirPod because I was feeling like I want the people on Instagram to be able to hear your voice too. It mutes it. So we won't do that. Sorry, Instagram. You're just gonna only hear my voice. Yes, life is a lot different. I think the last time we spoke, I was pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
So there's at least that. So more than 2 years ago.
Yeah.
My word.
Well, let's do this. Let's talk about where you were at then, what life as a singer looked like then, because you'd also moved recently. So you kind of changed your whole environment and you were reestablishing yourself in your new place. And then along comes baby. So let's talk about then versus what your singing career looks like now.
Yeah, beautiful. So you're exactly right. I've actually now been in Colorado for 5 years, which seems insane. I feel like it has been maybe a year or two I could wrap my mind around, but 5 seems wild. So yes, so I had moved here and was working with the same company that I was working with in San Diego for corporate events and weddings and things like that. They have a different band out here. So I was grateful to be able to join their company, their version of this company, and was doing that very full time as I did in San Diego. I would still come back to San Diego quite a bit to work with my old OG band, Tiffany, Jane, and the Kicks in San Diego, and I haven't found that same likeness here. I definitely work with people and collaborate and do studio singing, which I have just the utmost love for. I adore being in the studio so much. Do you feel that way too?
I love it. Studio singing is a whole different ball game to me.
Totally.
It's a different feeling. I find it very challenging, sometimes a little intimidating, but exhilarating. I love it. I do love it.
I love that. I love that you do it, even though it feels intimidating. I love that so much. For me, it feels a lot more calm and a lot more safe and a lot more comfy than
Mm.
live performance.
Yeah. Okay.
And so anyway, so I did a little bit more. I kind of have turned a little bit more into that side here,
Hmm.
working with other songwriters on their projects, on my projects, kind of getting a little bit more in Rudy stuff. But then I was pregnant and the pandemic and all of that, and it made me really slow down a lot, which was great because not a lot of people get to do that when they're pregnant, and I
Mm.
didn't have a choice, so it was fantastic. I got to be really present, and I did gig like 8 weeks after she was born, and I was like, I'm not ready. It was a
Mm.
really big realization. Whoa, super not
Yeah.
ready.
Hmm.
Um, Not only like your own body responses, but and COVID was still really a thing.
Hmm.
And so gigging looked a lot different.
Yeah.
Um, and and had a level of fear to it. Um, and a fear to bring home to another human. Um, but that kind of shifted my perspective and was like, well, if you're not going to do that, what are you going to do? And a lot of it has always been like, it was the last time that I talked to you. I still really enjoy um I don't know what you would call it, the YouTube vloggy life. I just
Hmm.
don't do it very much because my God, I just don't know. First of all, I'm not that interesting and I don't do very much anymore. But also I think there's like a balance of, making sure that like my daughter's name is Penelope, making sure that she has like her own autonomy in her own space. And like I definitely post her. By no means am I just have her face covered and things like that. I
Hmm.
definitely post her and her adorableness and wit and how smart she is. But I don't want to have a camera in her face all day long.
Right. Yeah.
So, and then what am I editing? And then all of those. And what am I setting up lighting? I'm most certainly not.
Hmm.
So that's kind of taken a back burner too. And I really, this year, have almost not gigged at all. My husband has a very fancy, impressive, spacey, working on spaceships. Literally, I'm not like even exaggerating, literally working on spaceships job that's over the weekends.
Uh-huh.
So it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And it's 12-hour shifts over the weekend. And so we had like a really real conversation of like this time with Penelope is really sacred. And she's not going to be two forever, but there will most
Mhm.
certainly be gigs forever.
Yes.
So I take gigs few and far between. I take them usually when they end at like a more humane hour, when they're not more than 2 hours away. Because in Colorado, a lot of the gigs are in the mountains.
Uh-huh.
Who doesn't want to get married? Like, oh, I'm atop a mountain in Colorado with the snowfall. Like,
Of course.
yes, I've taken ski lifts to gigs before. It's a different thing, but that means like if something happened or if I was needed, I'll see you in like 2 to 3 hours.
Yes. Mhm.
So that risk, I take like a lot of the downtown gigs and things like that, things that are shorter or closer. But overall, I've just I've really had time to slow down and to sit in motherhood.
Mm.
And it's
Mhm.
a huge gift. It's a huge gift from my husband. It's a huge gift from the universe. It's a huge gift that I will say I without sounding cocky that I'm also giving myself
Yeah.
of sometimes it might be nice to go out and gig, but it also means that I miss a day with her, or I miss an evening, or I miss a nighttime, or a bedtime. You know this more
Yeah.
than most people in the world. Um, and sometimes I think that that's really healthy and really good.
Mhm.
Um, but for the fact that I get the primary amount of my time uh, to be able to be of service to her, um, to be a safety, to be a consistent, um, music isn't gone. It's just a pause. It's a
Yeah.
pause.
Yeah.
And I still, it sounds drama. I still do gig here and there, but most certainly not weekly and not even monthly now.
Yeah.
So life looks very different. Sometimes I have to come down here into the basement and sing passionately and loudly and feel the feels of, wow, I haven't really sang in a long time, even though I teach vocalists almost every day.
Yeah.
It's different to sing for yourself. It's different to sing your own music. It's different to sing something you want to sing too.
Yeah.
But a little segue on that too is while being a mama, I see the impact that music has on a really growing teeny tiny spirit. And not only does that help her, you know, with her expression, does that help with joy and with dancing and cute moments, it also like really affects her speech and really affects her memorization big time. So in the midst of, and I feel like I've been talking for 17 hours.
That's okay. Go on.
Okay. You go ahead and tell me like when you want to say something. Okay. So in the midst of really having this gift of motherhood and still being really passionate about music and trying to find a way where I don't necessarily have to be separate from her. I recently created this business motto called Penelope's Melodies. So her name is Penelope. And it's for littles and a significant person in their life. So there's not an age limit or cap. There's not a, you know, they have to be able to stand or they have to be able to speak. But there's also not, well, they're not a baby, so they can't join this. But one of the massive callings I had to do this, apart from childcare is so expensive.
Right.
And saying like, how I'm going to leave for this job and make $2 to the hour while I'm paying somebody else. There's that. Yes. I also saw how let's see, I don't want to sound like I have all the answers because I most certainly don't, but I wanted to share the ways that I felt like we excelled and the ways that we overcame hurdles. And one of the biggest ones was speech. She communicated to me really, really young when she needed things or she felt things. We had sad, we had hungry, we had hurt, we had all different kinds of things really, really, really young. 10 months, 11 months, 12 months. And a lot of that was singing. A lot of that was music.
Yeah.
And seeing how some other people in my world would communicate that like, man, I just wish that they could tell me what was wrong.
Yeah.
Or tell me what was ailing them, right? Telling me what they were wanting. Okay, you want what? You want what, right? So much of our success was through music and having speech and music be connected. So I wanted to bring that to other people should they feel comfortable or led to. And I've only done one online lesson and one in-person lesson. But my gosh, it's really, I've seen anyone from 6 months, well, not even 6 months, they were almost 6 months to 5.5 years old in these group lessons. So the current challenge is how to make sure that 5.5-year-old doesn't go, this is so baby, I'm so not here for this. Yeah. But also that this 6-month-old doesn't go like, or the mama or the dada or the gunkle or the grandpa or the nanny or whoever is here bringing them doesn't go like, so they like definitely can't do that. They can't even walk. Like, what are we doing here? Right. So that's a big challenge I know that I had in my first 2 classes is making sure that what we're teaching utilizes a range of age.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pause for a second and I would love to hear what you experienced as a mama with 2 very capable, very expressive, beautiful girls in your world.
You know, I think when my girls came along, they were very close in age. And so
how old were your girls?
They were 20 months apart. They're 9 and 10 years old now.
God bless you, angel.
And there were challenges to that. And also, you know, a lot of
things,
bonus things. They were built-in entertainment for one another. And, you know, they were, Ashley, my oldest, she was very expressive, you know, from the get-go. But she kind of, when Anna came along, she kind of took the reins for Anna, and expressed and communicated for her on her behalf a lot of the time. So I think
Okay.
that's been the most interesting thing with having the two girls is learning that balance between them, and how they
Absolutely.
learn to communicate. And music is something that I've kind of introduced into their lives mostly on their terms. There's no way of them escaping it, in
Of
this
course.
household.
Right.
So they've just from being in this environment have been exposed to it. But I don't have it in me to be like, this is what you're going to do. You have to do voice lessons or piano lessons or anything like that. I just wanted them to naturally gravitate towards what they wanted to do. And so, in the music studio here, they have free reign to come in here, play anything they want at any
Whoa.
time, set up the mic, do whatever they want. But they're into it. They're really into it. They're great singers. They're great dancers. And so I'm just lucky that,
Yeah,
that they
absolutely.
took to it.
Gosh, I couldn't agree with you anymore on like I grew up with a single mama who was a singer, actress, dancer, director extraordinaire.
Mhm.
Um, and none of it was ever forced. I
Yeah.
wish almost, I'm like, why did you let me stop piano? Because the
Yeah.
thing,
Yes.
gosh, I wish I had never stopped piano. Um, and because it's just harder to learn as an adult and there's
Yeah.
time, it just takes longer, right? But thank goodness that she didn't because still have that crave, want,
Yeah.
dream, need to pick up the
Mhm.
instrument, right?
Mhm.
And didn't ever have forced voice lessons, anything like that. So music was always, yes, around, but chosen.
Yeah.
Love that for Penelope too.
Mhm.
And for any bub that I teach. Like I never want anybody that I teach to go, "Ugh, I have voice lesson today."
Yeah. Yes, of course.
Lord.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
No.
and as kids, it really I mean, it's my belief that it's all gotta be very, like, play-based and fun and because you never wanna be that you don't wanna be that person that influences them in the other direction where they're like, "Oh, you know, I hated
Absolutely
piano lessons. My mom made me do this. It was embarrassing. It was traumatizing." you know?
100%. I
Yeah.
have a lot of those clients come to me of I was forced to take voice or I did this recital and at my recital blank happened. I wish I had never done that. And then
Mhm.
like 25 years later, they're like, I'm afraid to sing, but I still want to sing, but I'm afraid to sing.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
And so there's a lot
exactly.
of time spent repairing the heart of a spirit that has been humiliated
Yeah.
or forced or someone who wasn't ready.
Yeah.
Um, and that's always a shame. That's always heartbreaking. I mean, I just had not too long ago, a couple months ago, a woman in her late 50s, join and be like, I was in choir when I was 8, and the choir director and her friends made fun of me when I had a
Oh,
solo. And so I
yeah.
just haven't sang it ever since. And she's
Mhm.
naturally very gifted. And
Yeah.
I was like, that's odd because you're very gifted.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would either think to myself, that wasn't about you, but it felt about you.
Yeah.
Or if that was their way of feeling important, that
Yeah.
was their own kind of soul journey to go on for themselves. Um, because nobody looks at a child and makes fun of the fact that they're singing anything. The only
Right.
thing I think of is how adorable they must be, or how
Exactly.
impressed you are that they're capable of doing what they're doing, standing up on a stage.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, we never and as adults, we take for granted how little ones perceive our reactions to the things that they're doing, where when we're laughing, we're laughing out of sheer delight and just like joy and entertainment, but to a sensitive little one that can be received totally different, you know?
absolutely. A 2-year-old will look at me, I'll start giggling, and it's sometimes over pure, like, I'm impressed by her own natural magic that I'm
Mhm.
like, I don't know where you got that verbiage or how you're doing what you're doing, but, like, I'm laughing just of like, "Oh my god, like, you magic soul." And she'll go, "Oh."
Yeah.
No, you're perfection. I was in
Yeah.
awe of your perfection for a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think that that's always like a really seeing her responses to things reminds me of how my own responses to my own life go too,
Mhm.
and how that may affect her as well. Um, but anyway, yeah. So these music classes aren't anything performance based or anything like that. This is really my adoration of being a mama and my adoration of music and trying to bring those two together.
Mhm.
And then this like other kind of realm of wanting to be in service
Mhm.
and how I used to get that fulfillment through performing live of
Mhm.
that was maybe somebody's wedding or somebody's bat mitzvah or bar mitzvah or changing of command or whatever, and to be of service of celebrating somebody's really huge life moment. And that
Mhm.
part is no longer a part of my life 75% of the time
Yeah.
that it used to be. And so seeing what are ways that I could help um, another mama and or dada or grandparent again. Sometimes I'll go to just parent, which isn't fair, but adult um, that's caring for. Sorry, my older dog is barking right now. It's totally distracting me. Older person in this little one's life.
Yeah.
Um, lost my train of thought. Shoot how we could overcome a hurdle for them for like processing really big emotions
Mhm.
or learning letters or signs if speaking is something that's going to happen later for them, or just even like teaching an internal rhythm. And
Mhm.
that's been something big, something after our first class, one of the little sweet 6-month-old bubs was kind of non-expressive,
Mhm.
um, and her mama was telling me that she hadn't ever seen her dance before,
Mhm.
and she doesn't coo and she doesn't, and that's fine. Sometimes they don't coo or make sounds until they're 3, like
Right.
whatever their timing is. But then like taking home some of those things that we did, um, there's like an internal rhythm and a joy
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
um so even if it's just something that small as in like or like to I put signs along with some of the music that we do, and that can bridge that gap for some of them
Mhm.
as well.
Mhm.
And honoring, one of the things is honoring their version of the sign, right? So if this is like music or song, but maybe they do this and you go yes song
Uh-huh.
music, you honor theirs. You don't go, no, it's not that, it's this, right?
Mhm.
Continuing to honor that, and that can be communication. That your kid is saying, play music, I want to dance.
Right. Mhm.
Or if this is for more and they do more and they say, yes, that can be more.
Mhm.
Um, I can geek out on this for a pretty long time. Um, but anyway, just hearing some of that back from other families has been remarkably feeding,
Mhm.
um, in a way that I just haven't had in a while because,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, just life has taken all those different turns. So, what I usually do when somebody inquires is I want to know how old they are, what they're working on at this moment. A lot come back to say like regulating emotions and speech. Those are like
Mhm.
the really big two big ones that
Mhm.
I have. And I think that they are 100% tied together.
Yeah. Okay.
They are they're frustrated because they can't speak, because you're not
Yeah.
understanding. So overall, I think sing-songies, music, rhythm, uh, can lead to communication
Mhm.
so quickly. So, for instance, if I go out of order of a song of ABCs or something, my girl can't really necessarily identify those letters, but she has This is an A. This is an A. She's got that.
Mm-hmm.
But if I go, which one is the C after the A? She's like, I need a second. And this E, and this is that one, C, right? And that's
Yeah.
okay for right now. That's okay for right now. But
Mhm.
how instrumental that music has been for her to learn some of the basics, as we would say.
Yeah.
So that's my current little adventure right now.
Mhm. I love it. That's amazing. I'm really I'm really fascinated by just the journey that led up to something that seems so like just such a nice natural organic progression for you to move into, this program that you're developing. um, because I knew you before and
Yes,
and after, and I
before
definitely,
marriage, before Colorado, before a lot of things.
yeah, and knowing what the working singer life is like and what I mean, I won't speak for you, but I would imagine that your situation had been very similar to mine, where life as a working singer pre-children, you it's such a hustle. It's so self-focused. So much
Yes, yes.
self-promotion, so much like we always have that fear of missing out on work, so we're taking any and everything. We want to stay relevant constantly, and that's just it's a way it becomes a way of being. And but then when a child comes along, it just automatically it's like it flips this switch in you that just changes, your whole set of priorities, and really what you care about at the core. I mean, I often felt very torn. Tell me if you felt this way. When I had my first daughter, I felt very guilty on both sides. Like I felt the mom guilt that like I still have this drive to pursue, my ambitions and everything. But then being in the mom shoes, I felt like, gosh, am I just letting my whole career go? And it was like finding that weird balance, but I knew where my heart truly was. And there was a little bit of like grieving that past dream,
Oh
but
yeah.
then moving into and settling into just a new chapter of life. And it sounds like you've really, you know, journeyed that same path.
Love absolutely every single thing that you said, 100%, 10 times over.
Mm-hmm.
And I give you ginormous kudos. I look at your social medias all the time and think, oh my word, I can't imagine the work it takes for the balance that you have created in your life. So huge kudos to you.
Oh,
Huge. You're
thank
setting
you.
such a remarkable example to your girls, showing about how you can really be that person for them in their world and
Mhm.
really pursue your passions and really provide and really do the damn thing. So I've got a lot to learn from you
Oh,
for
well.
sure. Because for right now, as you said, like a lot of things shift priority wise. Um, and I think you said something along the lines of like what really matters. Uh,
Mhm.
oh my goodness, so many things that used to have such pertinence for me
Yeah. Mhm.
seem so absurd and like, oh, I'm not doing that. I'm so sorry. Like I like or like okay, next. Like, remember, there's a human who like needs to be fed and educated and loved and heard and held and like is going to be instrumental in the next generation.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, yeah. I often think to myself when I'm in bed, and I know that like you are working so hard at like 10:30. I'm like, can you imagine if I was on my first set still? Like I think that to myself and
Yeah.
like
Right.
I did that prohibition hustle in San Diego, that 9:30 to 1:30 constantly. That martinis above fourth, 9:30 to 1:30 or 8:30 to 1:30, I think. And I think to myself, like, oh my God, I would either be done just ending my first set or starting my second set. I'm like,
Mhm.
there's no way. Oh, I'm gonna sleep. like, yeah. I that part of life seems, and then like to I had a conversation with my husband when I basically took off this year. When I
Mhm.
wrote the corporate um company that I work for saying like, "Hey, so my husband is taking this new job and it's over the weekends and we don't have any family in the state. We now have one of his cousins who's like 2 hours away, almost
Mhm.
2 hours away. And but she's got her boys and her whole life and a 9 to 5 and all these things. Um and I'm trepidatious about people that are with her that
Mhm.
um my husband wakes up 4:30 in the morning. Um so he cannot be up until 2:30 in the morning when I get home.
Right.
Which is
Yeah.
good. These are the times that I could possibly take some and they would need to be here. And I totally understand if that takes me off the roster. I hope that there's no blacklist thing going on. I'm always so grateful to work with you all, blah, 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 blah. And after I sent it, I had just such huge panic. I
Mm.
have never broadcasted I was unavailable for the most part. Um, and I was like, what if they never work with me again?
Yeah.
What if because there'll always be somebody else. There will always be.
Mhm.
There will always be someone hungry, there will always be somebody willing, there will always be the love and passion to do it. It's also a privilege in that level of corporate, as you know. It's you're not getting that at the pub down the street. Um, so if they didn't take me back, then am I starting over? Um, and he really sat with me and was like, well, first of all, we can always try to figure out something. We can hire somebody, we can do it this, we can do it that. But I know you and I know you want to be with her. It's like I do.
Mhm.
I don't want somebody else putting her to bed. And if she calls out for me, I don't want to not be there. Um, and he was like, with your work ethic and how long you've been in this business, there's no way that you saying, and hey, now I am available to be hireable again, to work with you all again, if you will have me, and that they're gonna go, no, you were a mom for a second. We're never gonna work with you again.
Hmm.
And part of my mind still battles that a little bit. I will be honest.
Yeah.
Part of me goes, oh, yeah, but 15 other women in town go, there's a spot. Great. Or
Yeah.
humans. And we'll get there when we get there.
Yes.
But ultimately, if they do have that idea of, well, she's done for us then because she took this year, then that's not where you want to spend your time.
Right. Right.
Like, wow, really fair on that one, homie. Really fair on that one. And so I just really sat with myself for a while of like, what do I really know at the end of the day I really love? And I think I talked to you about this the last time actually. It's not live performance. I love singing
Mhm.
and I love raising humans. Um, and I love being a part of the growth of humans, any age, brand new to the woman in her late 50s. So I definitely want to still teach, which I said to myself I would never do. No, just really said that as a teen and just growing up around it.
Yeah.
Um, but I do really get so much fed to myself from seeing somebody else's artistry evolve
Yeah.
and celebrate their wins. Like I have a whole fleet of my bubs that have gone off to college this year. I'm just like,
Mm.
this is so amazing and so exciting. And this is just, they're wicked talented and it's just so cool to see. But then also like moms that take lessons with me that's like, that's their sacred time. Their time
Yeah.
to feed their creativity. And then like this new really cool adventure where I get to be around these teeny tiny humans that are not only just precious but super evolving and that I get to be a part of the success in their household.
Mhm.
That feels really, really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, so that's what I'm doing, lovely.
I love it.
I'm teaching still. I'm gigging very, 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 very rarely, and I'm starting this Penelope's Melodies. I do it every other Saturday. Every other one is online, and the other weeks are in person, obviously in Colorado. There's no age cap.
And are these group classes that you're doing, or is it just all one-on-one?
Yeah, all group. All group. I think one of the benefits I saw in the in-person, because it's just this is brand new for me, is the love bugs being able to interact with each other is really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool. So it's really amazing for their like social cognitive abilities. Online, we try to recreate that the best that we can. And two, like one of my biggest hurdles right now is like, I don't know if you know about the Miss Rachel of the world. Miss Rachel's on YouTube, and she's just a magical teacher of glory for little bubs. And I'm like, how can I make sure I'm not? What do I bring?
Oh, yes, I do know that. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
So the only thing that I have for an answer of that right now is I try to customize in that questionnaire the things about them personally. So they get their name, their age, their things they like, you know. So if it's Grant and he likes trucks, we make sure we do a song about trucks for Grant. Or if it's Penelope and she has green eyes, we talk about her green eyes. Or if Luna's working on sitting up, we really make a really big deal about the fact when Luna ends up sitting up on her own for a second. So it's that personalized part of it that we don't get from YouTube. Don't get me wrong. Miss Rachel has been huge in our lives and in our family. And you should watch Miss Rachel if you have a little one, in my opinion. If it resonates with you. But that's the thing that I think is a little different. And it's a little more music based. So like we do talk about like, what is a note? And a note has a head. And this is your head. Where's your head? Right. And the head is also what shape. And we talk about shapes. The head of a note is a circle. Well, actually, it's an oval. Can we try to say oval? And then it has a stem. What else has a stem? It smells good. A flower has a stem, you know, and that's the shape of a line. So we try to do a little bit more on the emphasis of music rather than but focusing more on this book or this word or up and down. We do try to implement those things as well, but it's a little music heavy. So that's the journey right now, lovely.
Yeah. I was wondering, as parents, as you know, when we go to get our child involved in something, especially when they're very young,
yes,
you know, before like grade school has started or anything like that, and all of the soccer and all that stuff starts to begin. When we get them signed up for something, it's because we are looking for something for them, for their development, but we're also looking to answer a parental anxiety within ourselves, something that's saying, I'm not doing enough as a mom, or my child should be doing this and I'm worried. And, you know, this may be the answer to it. What would you say, or how would you describe what your class answers for, you know, a parent right now?
First of all, that's so relatable. And yes, my child's in swim for that. Yeah. I'm like, I'm an active human being. I have like no sport in my life. So now she's in swim. Because what am I providing for her in that area? So yes.
Yeah.
Brilliant question. So I think I guess overall, I'll do overall first. A little bit more of what we were talking about earlier, that music helps with cognitive development, emotionally, physically, creatively, in person, socially. I think we all have memories connected to music. I remember a Barney towel and a tea set with my grandma, and her playing what I now know is jazz that I didn't know. And the first time I ever heard thought about you. I took a trip on a train and I thought about you was with her on a tea towel.
Mm.
I must have been 2 or 3. But I have that song came on as an adult trying to hang with amazing jazz players in San Diego. I was like, "Oh, I know that song." And I remembered it with my grandma. And so I think these classes, since it's not a drop-off situation, I don't
Right.
they could if that's what would really feed them, but it's a you and your person, your mini and you, whatever that relationship is. And that's one of the things too. I don't love this mommy and me part of it. I think
Mhm.
it's the person in your world.
Right.
Um, are creating a really core memory.
Mhm.
I remember that she took the time to do that.
Mhm.
And thinking how rad that was that she was down on the ground with a towel and a tea set, but she still had her thing going on with that music. And
Yeah.
I had that sensory. So I think not only is it really helping with speech, helping with an internal rhythm of physicality, a way that they can regulate emotions, they can meet other children of various different growth. They can learn from somebody who's bigger than them and the big boy in the class. It's so cool.
Mhm.
Um, they have another human that they know loves and cares about them that's an adult that they can always go to. Um, but they're also getting this core memory with their person
Yeah.
connected to something that's really intrinsic.
Mhm.
It's vibrational, goes through your whole body. There's words for sure, there's tonal quality, there's all these different things, but there's like a vibrational thing, like hippie guru moment that like goes through your whole body. Like I remember my first concert. I remember, we have we can't help but store memories connected to music.
Yeah.
And uh for 30 minutes of your day, like you're creating a really core memory for this little in your life.
Yeah.
I think
I
that's
can really see the value of you're also really creating connection and a way for parents or like you said,
yeah, the
and
big in their life.
the big in their life to communicate with them on a different level other than, I'm the adult, you're the child, I do the teaching.
Right.
Uh, but this kind of is just a completely different set of tools to make that connection. And, um, as moms or any adult, in a child's life, a lot of it is just serving them, fulfilling
Totally.
requests and,
And
and
that can be that some weeks too. Sometimes it's weeks of like you and I need to break from each other, so we're going to go to this other person who's going to kind of run the
yeah.
experience for us. For sure. For
Exactly, but
sure.
when you're connecting on a level of music and creativity like that, it's much more intimate. You really see a different dimension of your child, and your child sees a different dimension of you, and
Totally.
I think it's a really, really wonderful thing to um, put this together. I think it's
Thank
it's so
you.
smart, and it's so smart that you have leaned into your natural gifts and strengths and
Mm,
this chapter of your life to just
you.
say, this is where I'm at, and I know, who I am as a parent. I know who I am as a musician and singer and everything, and this is what I have to, like, gift to the universe, and I love that you're doing it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I so appreciate it. I think one last little bit cuz I know we probably need to wrap up. One last little bit. Another part that's also fun and healing and empowering is sometimes when you look at these older songs that are sing songs for bubs, you go
Mhm.
like, I don't know if I love what's being said here right now. Like, if you ever had like Ray, what is it? Um, the old man is snoring, bumped his head. That whole song is so dark,
Yeah, it's
so
funny. We
dark,
didn't
and
really.
so I'm like, so first of all, we're just vetoing that song. Is what I feel. We're just not doing that song. But there's like the Wheels on the Bus song.
Mhm,
The mama is like, be quiet, and the
mhm,
dad is like, I love you.
mm,
And the driver is move on back. Rosa Parks. What's happening?
Rosa Park vibes.
Like I've rewritten some of those words so that we can have our bubs hear a little bit more of an updated version of life. Mama says kisses. Dada says, or the driver says, hello, friends. Fly Me to the Moon is like their introduction to jazz, but it's all like planet and space themed now. Things like that. So I feel like that too is one of those I've heard from other parents before, like, we don't really like to sing that song because like it seems mean or it doesn't seem nice or like it's like awkward to sing, or we don't have a mama in our house. Like, what the heck? I'm like, let's tailor the words just for your family. Perfection. I'm going to send you over some lyrics. That's going to be exactly Derek says, Daddy Derek says, that's another part that I'm just so obsessed with. Tell me about your family. We're rewriting the words. Here are the lyrics for your song so that you can do it at home too.
Oh, yeah. The individualization of that is really wonderful. So, in a nutshell, Penelope's Melodies, it's a program for littles 6 months through whatever.
Easily 5.
Yeah, 5 years old. A group program where you are fostering connection and creativity and just a way for the bigs in the littles' lives to learn to communicate with them through music and quite a lot of other things that are connected through that. But that is beautiful. And for those who'd like to check it out, where do you suggest they go?
Yes. So the best way is to either email Penelope's Melodies at gmail.com. That's any questions, any details, anything that you have for me. I'd be happy to communicate with you that way. The other thing is we're on both Facebook and Instagram. On Instagram right now, have my Instagram friends at Penelope's Melodies as well. You can DM me on there. I don't have an official website yet. I'm not sure where this journey is going. So we're just on social media at the moment and Gmail. And yes.
Wonderful. Well, I will make sure that all of those links are in the comments.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of where you're at in your journey. And I want to wrap things up by asking, my final question that I do, but I again really want to acknowledge just how wonderful it's been to like witness, where you've come from to where you are at. You've always been such a heartfelt, successful individual, whether it's on stage or off stage or, taking care of your child. And that's just something I think that is just naturally ingrained in you. And it's such a beautiful thing. And I love that you're just using your natural gifts to keep it going, and that you've just so like gracefully grown with every chapter that's unfolded. Some of us don't do it so gracefully. So, you've got to really give yourself so much credit for that. Motherhood is a trip, and you wear it so well. And I admire you, and it's watching you post your videos with your daughter, and she's a doll. But so
thank you. I don't want that to get washed over. That was a lot of beautiful things to say, and I really appreciate it. And sometimes I go, I don't know if I'm being lame and I've given up everything and I'm being so thank you for that. That was a really big gift. I appreciate you.
It's hard to keep this thing going because it looks just crazy different at every turn, but you have you've made it there and you've overcome those. So my final question to you is, what makes you unstoppable?
Girl, that's hard.
Yeah.
I think what makes me unstoppable, Angel, I will go with there's nothing that I would not do to try to show up to be enough for Penelope. She's magic. And so I try to show up every day in a way that is going to serve her. And that drive, I think is unstoppable.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
We heard it. The heart of a mother. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. Oh, I love you, Tiffy. I'm so
I love
glad
you right
we
back.
got to catch up and chat. And let's not let a few more years go by
I
before
know.
we do this again.
I
I know
know.
you've been busy. You got a
You've
lot
been
going on.
busy. You've been busy working incredible, creative, singing mama,
Yeah.
Hawaii, all of the things.
Yeah. Well, I was in I feel like it was just yesterday that I was in the chapter that you were at with
Of course.
the age of my daughters and everything, but you're going to see it's mind-blowing how you constantly are turning these corners into a new stage just when you think you've got everything figured
Yeah,
out.
I'm
So
sure.
I'm in a different, phase now with my daughters being the age they are. So I have that I have a new level of independence in my life, where
Yes.
I can pursue those things. And that it's not reasonable to do certain things like that when you don't have that level of independence.
On a level
And
to motivate and inspire them as well
yeah,
as you're
yeah,
doing.
yeah.
So
Aw.
beautiful. Thank you
Oh,
for having me.
awesome. Thank you so much for giving us your time tonight. I know as a mom,
Of course.
you're always on borrowed time. So I appreciate this hour, this slice of your life. And we will keep watching. What's the best Instagram handle for you? I think you already said it,
I
but say it
know
one more
it's
time.
so confusing because I have 475 of them. But let's sit on Penelope's melodies.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, make sure you go and follow her and check out her new program and just see how things unfold down the line for you. But
Anybody from here, free first lesson. Anybody from here,
hey,
just hey, the Unstoppable Singer, free first lesson.
I love it. Thank you for that.
Of course.
All right. Well, good night to everybody. We'll see you back here next week with another amazing singer. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.